Hey, this is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is the Expectant Aerials podcast. How's it going, guys? Hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for being with me. Before we get started, lots of stuff going on at Wrap Your Head Around Silks. Number one, Roll It Out. It is our Zoom body rolling classes, foam rollers, balls, peanuts, all the things. We do it together. We breathe and cry together. Sunday nights and Tuesday nights. And there's also a student portal in case you can't do the live. Always a new video for you every week. It is an amazing way to stay accountable to your body maintenance. All right, my friends. And more stuff coming. You can check out the show notes. I've got a bunch of free stuff. Like, I just redid the website. So many free resources. Straddling up in 3 ways. You know, how to teach without pressure, etc. It's all there for you. All right, today we have Pamela Macdonald. This interview just makes me smile so much. We talk about her and her career. She started aerial at the age of 30. She has 3 kids, including 1 small infant, and she is working professionally, newly professionally, juggling 3 children, plus a husband, and teaching as well, killing it. We talk about how the industry, we would love it to support families better. We would love everyone to support families better. Let's just put it right there. We'll just leave it right there. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear this. Let's get started. This is Pamela K. Macdonald, and we've been trying to schedule this for a while because she's in the thick of it. She's in, you're only about, wait, how many? Months or weeks? Wait.
7 months. So I'm past the
7 months. Okay.
So past.
I was like, no, that squish is bigger than 7 weeks. Oh my goodness. And this is your third?
Or number 3. Yeah.
Number 3 out of your body. Wow.
Yes. And I remind them all the time.
And Pamela, you can't see her, but she's on Zoom. But Pamela is this very like petite. Are you Filipina?
I am Filipino.
Very, very petite Filipino woman. And okay, we're gonna go back and talk about this. But wait, I just gotta know. You just had 3 kids. What is your body like? What does your pelvis feel like? What has changed?
You know, what has changed? Many things. I felt like there's a lot of shifting for sure. But you know, I have my 3 kids. So I have an 11-year-old, I have my 9-year-old, and then this little one. So.
Oh, so there's like 9 years in between.
Yes. Yeah. There's 9 years
on purpose?
It was on purpose, you know, and then when we started trying, when we were ready for the third one, it actually took a little bit longer than the first 2. The first 2 is really quick. The third one, it took a while. So, and I actually wasn't doing aerial with the first 2 kids. I found aerial after them. And,
yes.
So this is the first time that I've been doing aerial through pregnancy and the postpartum experience. So I can say, like, with what's changed, I feel like aerial has helped actually a lot in that my body feels. So, but yeah, definitely some other shifting going around, and obviously coming back to like performing and training has been a journey this year, but it's I don't really have anything to compare it to with the other 2 kids because I wasn't doing aerial at that time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Can I ask you how old you are now?
I am 36. I'll be 37 in September.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and when did you find aerial? What year was that? Do you remember?
I found it is a little over 6. I was 30 at the time. So it's been a little over 6 years that I've been doing it. And I found it when my kids were whatever age they were now. Back then, you know, they were 2 little ones. So yeah, and that's a whole story.
Yeah, I found aerial at 30 as well. And did you find it at Up Flying Yoga? Was that the first place you went to?
I did. Yeah. So I had gone with my 2 kids and my husband. We went to Circus Vargas, which is like a traveling circus, and we just took them for a show. And I remember like feeling really inspired to, you know, I watched the aerialists and I watched the acrobats, and like at that time I was a stay-at-home mom. Previous to that, I was a registered nurse, or I am a registered nurse. And but as we were watching the circus, I felt this like great pull in my heart. And I tell this story all the time, but it means a lot to me. You know, I felt this great pull in my heart, like, oh, you have to try that. And I'm like watching these acrobats, no experience in circus, no, like, was I afraid of heights? Probably. I don't even remember, but like, I just felt like this feeling like I should try it. And so I went home that day and I Googled aerial classes, and I found Up Flying Yoga with Kim, who's been a guest on your podcast, a couple times.
Yes.
And so I started there. That's where I started. And I just remember just feeling like at that time I felt like I'd been searching a lot for things in my life, and searching for something that I felt like was totally me, you know, especially after having my kids, deciding to stay at home and all that. It had been a couple of years of me searching for something that I felt like was for me. And when I went to take my first class, I was like, oh, this is it. I felt like this great feeling. So I just threw myself into that. And I started with aerial yoga, because that's what was the requirement at that time to start. And then to get acclimated to like the hammock. And then I took aerial dance. And after the aerial dance class, I was just like so into it and started training, and I wanted to do that forever. And so I ended up like leaving my job as a nurse and moving on to this. So.
And now do you still teach at Upflying?
No. So I actually, that's where I started. So after I decided like this is what I wanted to do with my career, I decided to take the aerial instructor training program that was at Up. So I did that with Kim, and I started teaching there at that studio for a while, which was really cool because that's where I started. And then I started teaching. I'm no longer teaching there, but I do take like private clients right now, and I'm teaching, different classes and stuff like that. And I have some things coming up, like a workshop in a little retreat that I've been invited to in Thailand. So I'll be teaching there.
Oh my goodness. And I've kind of been able to watch from afar Pamela's, you kind of remind me of, well, myself and also Lena Fumi.
Yes, she's wonderful.
Who is at the Loft, because she had, well, yours isn't really a corporate job, being a nurse, but she had a corporate job. She completely 180'd it and quit the job and started training and, became a professional, after the age of 30 into 40s, and is just thriving in it.
Yes.
And I know we live in LA. I think it might be slightly easier to do something like that in Los Angeles or maybe Vegas than other places in America,
sure,
or even other places in the world. But because we have so many, we have a thriving community, we have a little bit more work. Although performing work, we don't have tons right now, I have to say. Right. LA is not the best for that. Like Vegas is definitely the spot. But so you guys became pregnant on this third try. And let's talk about your prenatal. So did you suffer from morning sickness at all?
I did. With this baby, especially the third one, I felt like my two girls is when I felt the most sick. And then my boy in the middle, it was okay. But yes, the third one was the worst of all. I think I was just out for the first 12 weeks.
Were you actually throwing up, or was it just like the feeling of nausea?
It was the feeling of nausea, and I think I threw up like 2 or 3 times. But I feel like I would have rather just thrown up than
thrown up. Right. Let's get to the point.
Right.
Like this whole just nauseous all day.
Yeah.
So did you kind of put training to the side for those 12 weeks?
I did put training to the side. I had to, because I just could not even, I would just lie on the couch, and much to my frustration, but I just had to just lie there. But then after 12 weeks, it was like there was a switch, and I was able to get back to doing a little bit of training. I took it pretty easy, but I was able to train a little aerial like up until about 8 months. So that was nice. But
great.
I literally did the same like type of training routine. I put like 2 double hammocks together and just kind of
Yeah.
Did the same thing every time I went up.
There ain't nothing wrong with that. I love the like a yoga approach, like a yoga practice approach to aerial,
Yes.
where like I am doing, Sunny 10 times, because that's how you find the nuance in it. So I appreciate that type of practice.
Yes.
And then did you have regular, like you didn't have to get a C-section or anything for your first two?
Oh no, yeah, I just vaginal deliveries for all three. So
Ah,
it was fun.
you have what Dr. Janae calls a proven pelvis.
It's been proved. It's
Like she knows the baby will come out.
tried and tested. Yes.
Tried and tested. You haven't listened to Dr. Janae's stuff, listeners? Go and listen because she's hilarious.
My boy was probably the hardest pushing, just because he was sunny side up. So that means he's head first, but he's looking upward when he comes out, and so that actually makes his head, the head of the baby, like the widest it could be. So it has to like get over that pelvic bone, and so pushing him out was the hardest out of all. So my two girls gave me the nausea, but he gave me the hardest pushing, if that makes sense.
And with all of them, did you do epidurals?
Yes. Oh yes. I props to anybody who does it without the epidural.
So you're not that chick who's like, I want to feel it all in a pool of water.
No. Especially like working as a nurse before. I worked in labor and delivery and postpartum when I was working as a nurse. And so, I was able to see how that experience was with the other moms. And I was like, yep, I'm getting an epidural for sure. Because there's nothing wrong with that. So.
No. Okay, cool. And then how long this last one did it take to push a little baby out?
She was the easiest one. It was wonderful. My water broke in the middle of the night. There was no traffic. We went down. I labored for, I don't even remember how long, but not too long, and got her out in about 30 minutes, which still seems like a long time, 20, 30 minutes, but quicker than the
of pushing.
Yeah, quicker than the other two.
She calls it a PP, a proven pelvis. I don't have one of those. Mine came out of a slit in the front. We just made a back door, Get out the back door. We can leave the front door completely unaccosted because I'm not having another one. We'll just leave it. It's great. Okay, so what is your process? What's been your process back? So you had the baby. Did you have any diastasis recti? Well, we all do, but like, was it problematic?
It wasn't problematic. I think, no, not so much with any of them. It seems like there's only like one finger width. No, I didn't. My process back, I was very excited to get back into aerial after this one. So once I was approved, I was fortunate to be able to just start again. And honestly, this year, it's actually been quite a while getting back to performance level. That's what I wanted to do, is to build back. But we had like the pandemic. We had a year of my husband and I trying. So I was kind of like not really performing at that time. And then after that, I was pregnant. And then I just got back to performing just a little bit. I actually just came back from being out of town. I was in Arizona with Splash Circus, which is a traveling circus. So that was a wonderful experience. But honestly, at the beginning of this year, I was just getting back into it. My word of the year was build. Like, so I didn't really have any expectations of like, oh, I'm going to do this. I feel like we should, as mothers, especially postpartum, you just kind of listen to your body, see what's happening. And I didn't have really these big expectations for myself. I just wanted to build back and see where that took me. And so I was just training, and then these opportunities came up, and that was very nice. So I just got back to performing just a little bit ago at 7 months. So, which was nice to have that experience.
And you just came back from it. That contract, what was it? Was it just like a couple weeks?
So it was, I went for a week in Arizona. And then it's nice because it's a wonderful family behind that circus, and they want me back, which is great. So I'm going to be able to go back to different cities and different, they're a traveling circus. So they're going through Arizona right now. And so they asked if I can, whatever dates and cities I can make, especially with my children, to come back. And so that's been really nice that I can have that opportunity. It was really cool to get back. And it's kind of a full circle moment, just because that first, even though I've had gigs and performances in different venues, like the very first time I got into aerial was when I went to that traveling circus,
right,
at Circus Target. And so it was totally full circle this year, coming back after this, my third and last baby here, just coming back to that and being able to actually be in a traveling circus. It was really special, like a special moment for me.
Yeah, it's kind of an example of like, you can have it all, but if you have it all at the same time, it gets a little bit, a lot to manage, right? A lot of juggling.
A lot of juggling. I found between the three kids, the jump from 2 to 3 is very interesting, because I have kids in all stages of childhood.
Oh yeah. Ugh.
So I have 11.
That's exciting, and then also, ooh.
Right. My 11-year-old is hitting tween territory, and that's fun. She's wonderful, but it's like, I've never dealt with a teenager, so we're heading into that area. And then there's my boy. He's 9, so he's in his, he's in the middle childhood. And then I have my little baby. So I've found juggling and dealing with the activities for each of the children, and just making sure, that's been the most challenging part of having the 3 kids, is all the activities and scheduling, lots of scheduling.
Lots of scheduling. So like, what's the nuts and bolts of that? I think that's really important. So let's just say, you're flying out, or if you're driving out, whatever, to your gig, and you're going to be gone for a week. Are you breastfeeding?
I am breastfeeding, and then just recently started putting her on formula. So that was giving her bottles and things as well. So I'm no longer pumping, which is...
So what was that, just for the baby, what was the process of getting ready to be away for a week?
So actually my family was able to come with me for this run, which was really
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And that's the goal, is if they can come with me, like if I'm going to fly out for a weekend, that they would come with me.
And your husband as well?
My husband was able to come this time. He might not be able to in the future, but this time he was able to. And so that was a huge help for this opportunity. And then my daughter, because she's hitting that older age, they've been a big help, my older 2 kids. So that's been really nice. As far as scheduling, it's just, I've learned to prioritize. I've learned to say no to different opportunities. And I really try to look at it and see what's best for my family, my children. If they have things coming up, then I might set aside my opportunities if I don't feel like it's going to benefit our family in the way that where we can feel balanced and where we can feel like everybody's being supported. That makes sense. So I've learned to say no. I've learned to say no to things. I really prioritize.
You know what I think is just so, like, from my perspective, hard about that, besides the actual nuts and bolts? So when my performance career started, which was when I was in my professional career, 20s,
yeah.
Like, there was nothing in the way of taking a gig. Like, that was the first priority, because I didn't have any other of the stuff in my life. That's where in my life it landed. Kind of in the, best time, where you're like, okay, I don't have any other responsibilities. I remember some of my friends were in like serious relationships, and one in particular is coming to mind. She turned down a Christina Aguilera gig in the early in the early 2000s, when Christina Aguilera was first like rising. Right. And she turned it down because the man she was with at the time, who is now her husband, their relationship came first. They had something planned. She turned it down. Yeah. Christina Aguilera passed on her, obviously, and then the dancers that stayed with her for that whole time are still, were with her for 20 years.
Yeah. Wow.
She basically missed out on potentially being on tour for many, many years because a lot of times they pick people and then they just hold on to them.
Right.
And I remember that ended up feeling devastating for her. And, it's different because back then we had like one dream, right? You have one priority. Whereas when you have kids, you have many dreams, you have many priorities. And you sound really balanced in it, but I think that would be really difficult from an outsider's perspective because you are not on the bottom, you're not on the end arc of your career like I am. Like my performance career, it could kind of like take it or leave it now. I've already done it for 20 years.
Right.
Whereas the arc of your career is different. And it's coming at a time where there's a lot of different things that you need to take into account, whereas I did not. I dissed my family many times. Like, my parents had, like, family vacations planned. I didn't come home for Christmas many years because I took contracts, and, like, my whole family would be at home, and I would be, like, crying alone in a hotel room on Christmas Eve.
Right.
Because I decided to take a gig.
Yeah. It's interesting, actually, you're mentioning this because while I was trying to get pregnant with our third one here, I was offered another traveling circus contract during that time. So this was about 2 years ago because I told you it took a little bit longer for us to have this baby. And I remember getting the contract and just agonizing over it because, it was my dream to do that. Like I started with that. And even though I had performed in other things like that, I felt like that's what I wanted to do, is to join a circus, just to be able to have that experience. Right. And so I remember we were agonizing over it because it just seemed like it wasn't the right time. And they had offered it to me and I was ready to go. Like I was getting ready to leave. We were like, okay, this is what we can do with the kids. It was during the summer. They could come with me. And I didn't have the baby at that time yet. But we were trying, and I was kind of in this ups and downs of frustration that it was taking longer to have the baby, to conceive. We were trying, right? And there's a lot of things going on at that time. And I remember just feeling so upset that I was like, okay, I don't think this is going to work out. And I had to decline it. And I remember now looking back, I can see, obviously, hindsight is 2020. There you go. But like, it ended up working out but at that time it was very difficult. Like I was like, this is my chance, it would be a big step in my career. And I just felt like I was letting it go. So yeah, I did. Even as a mom, I still feel that even as I'm trying to prioritize and balance everybody, I did feel like, oh, I'm declining this, right? But it worked out. Looking back, I can see, I ended up having this baby, which was such a blessing. Like I'm gonna cry thinking about it. The timing. I had to trust timing for a lot of these things in my life. And learned a lot of lessons through that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and trust that it would come back to you if it was meant for you. I mean, that's really hard as a performer because, as we all know very well, performers are not, like, we don't have a lot of leverage in these situations.
Right.
Like when they've decided to cast, to be honest, like a person of color and a woman into a cast. Yeah. I've always felt like, before this time, that like, shit, if I don't take advantage of it, they're just going to pass me by. This is never going to come back to me. And I struggle with anxiety. So that even like, ratchets it up, the amount of like,
yes,
angst.
Exactly.
Right. That can be experienced. And, me and my girlfriends just had this conversation because we're all aerialists, and it just sucks because jobs always are going to tend towards the easiest way of doing things. So they're not going to make lots of concessions for us to get nannies and make requests because we have to deal with childcare.
Right.
Even the scheduling, like let's just say you book a gig and they're used to scheduling things on the fly, like putting you on a plane the next day.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a mom, you can't do that.
Nope. Exactly.
And the industry is not in the, I mean, I guess it used to be. Like I talked to Carmen Curtis, who is kind of not that much older than me, but she started a whole generation before me.
Mm-hmm.
And when she was on tour with, oh God, I can't think of the show right now. They like paid for a nanny to be on tour with her and her husband because there were so few people with her skill set at the time.
Right.
So they made all the concessions. Right. Now it's like, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but I have another student who is on and off on tour with a really big artist, and they asked her for their next leg. I think it's the European leg, and there's only 3 months of work. Mm-hmm. She has her sister's wedding right in the middle, and it's right on top. It's not in the middle, it's towards the end, mm-hmm. but it's right on top of a show date. So they would have to switch things around to give her that one day off so she could fly home and then fly back. She thinks they're going to pass on her. Mm-hmm. 3 months of work, 3 months of stadium arena shows because she can't make one day. And that's also the same for the crew. They'll do the same thing for the crew. If you're a sound guy and you have your brother's wedding, you will lose your entire 3 months of a contract because they will not make an exception. Yeah. So it's not just for moms.
Exactly.
It's for family. It's for life.
Family, right? I feel like if you find something like this where they are able to support you as understanding that you are a mom or you have your family and I do feel like that's something that's we should probably try to address in the industry, supporting the family more and
supporting the family more. Yeah,
because we can do the work and we're there. We could be there, but as I said, with prioritizing, if I have to look at it and look at every opportunity that comes, and I try to do things where I feel like I have to think about it. Like, does this align with the goals that I have? Does this align with, a big motivating factor for me is like, can I be an example to my children in this way? Or is this more like, I'm just going to do it just I've had to balance, look at each opportunity and be like, what are you going to get out of this more than just the money or whatever it is. I've had to prioritize, and that's hard. That's difficult because, when you're trying to make it, it's your living. So I definitely feel like, just the support for families, support for moms. That's a big thing. But
it's huge. I personally, I recognize on the surface, it might seem like, that scenario has it all. I think that's really hard, personally. Like, I'm really grateful that the two biggest dreams of my life came at different times, honestly. Like, I think it's extraordinarily hard, and that's how I relate to your situation. But at the same time, if that's not how it rolls, if that's not how it comes downstream, you just have to go with it, right? And it seems like you're doing it because there is obviously a time limit on how long you can have kids,
right?
Ish.
Yep.
And Ariel came into your life when you were 30, and you want to do it, and you also have to have kids at the same time. We can't wait to have kids till we're 55.
Exactly. Yep.
But I think, I mean, so many times in this podcast, I'm just like, it's become more of a conversation than like an interview because I have so many things to say about things.
I love it.
No, I think interviews, it should be a conversation because really this podcast is not just about how we're dealing with pregnancy and having a kid, but like the whole lifestyle around it and the ups and downs and how you do that. Like
Yes.
there's moms across the world who are trying to figure out how other moms do it so they could borrow from your playbook.
I wanted to share, something that I've learned from at least my experience, that for anybody who's discouraged or like, how do I do that? Or what, like it's, if you're going to decline something, if you're going to, as you're agonizing over these ups and downs that we've been talking about, it's for me, it's funny looking back at everything that you have gone through in your life, anything you've tried, all your skills, the people you've met, all these things, they all somehow help you to be have helped me at least to be the mother and the aerialist that I am today. And I have to remember that when I'm feeling discouraged, or if I'm agonizing over something, or if I'm letting an opportunity, if I'm going to decline an opportunity, whatever. I think about that. Like, I think about that before all this. I was a nurse, right? I was a nurse before I had my kids. And then I became a stay-at-home mom after I had my first baby. And then I remember, like, I was searching, right? I was searching for something, as I said earlier. And I got into like these really creative spells after I had my babies. So after I had my first one, I like decided to start an Etsy shop. I was crocheting like little headpieces for her and things. I taught myself how to crochet, and I made this Etsy shop. And because people were like asking about the hats, and I was like, I might as well sell this. So I did. And that was really fun. But then I didn't want to do it anymore because it got too busy. And then after my son, I remember I got really into fitness, and I've always been pretty active, but I was really into fitness. So I decided to go and pursue personal training. And I ended up getting certified as a personal trainer through the American Council on Exercise, right? I'm getting somewhere with all this. And
no, I love it.
And then and I remember prior, like as I was being a nurse, and this was before kids, I was really into photography. I wanted to learn about photography. And so I started a little photography business. And I did that for like only a few months. And then I was like, no, I don't like doing this. So, there's all these things that, and then after my son was born, my husband and I decided to start a nonprofit. Like, my husband is an attorney, and we looked up all the red tape, we researched how to do that, and we ended up starting this little nonprofit where I was trying to help like women and children in need. Like, we would connect with different shelters and different girls shelters, like that house youth, troubled youth, and things like that. And we would go and just do donation drives or service for them, and then I would do these workshops for these girls, and kind of just reminding them of their worth, reminding them of their potential. And I'll try not to cry as I talk about all this, but anyway, going through all this, then eventually I found Aerial. But I was always like, why do I feel like I'm searching and I'm doing these things, which are all wonderful, like wonderful experiences, but also I always felt like, why can't I stick to something? Why can't I stick to something? I just, in my prayers, I would be like, can I just find something that I can do some good with, that I can love, and something where I can be at home, maybe more with my kids. I don't want to be away for 12-hour shifts at night. I don't want to do that. And so I did all those things, and then I found Aerial. And what I'm saying is, everything that you go through in your life, you pick up these skills. And I feel like I still use a lot of the skills I learned through all of those things, in my aerial work today, as a teacher, as a performer, and as a mother. With the fitness, it's like I was able to come into aerial with a little bit of strength, right? I wasn't able to do a pull up and all that stuff yet, but I was totally awkward in my first dance class. But you know what I mean? Like, at least I came in with a little bit of strength. And then the creativity part, like the photography and the Etsy shop, even like I learned how to kind of manage a business, right? Or to manage myself and kind of market myself, which I think contributes to being an aerialist. With the nonprofit and connecting with all those people and doing those workshops for those youth, one of the things that I really love to do in my aerial work is I created these special presentations where I go and perform aerial, but I also tie it into like this motivating message. So I speak to the audience. And that was one of the first things I did as performing as an aerialist. Was I went to Utah. I went to like a university, and I went to these girls camps and these conferences where I spoke to these women, these young girls. I showed them aerial, and then I kind of tied in the message because I feel like aerial has, there's so many parallels to life that you can learn, right, with aerial and life. And I would share it with the girls and just remind them that you have the potential to pursue talents, right? Your talents, to build skills, kind of share this whole story with them, and just kind of to motivate them and to help them to know that all those things, you may not know why you, as you're going through those the ups and downs in your life, when you're feeling lost, when you don't know what you're doing as a performer or whatever, it all helps you to become the aerialist, the mother, the person that you are today. Things happen for a reason, and that those opportunities that are for you will be there for you. And the ones that you have to decline, or regretfully or not, that's okay. You are building as a human, you're building as a mother, you're building your children, and those right things can come for you.
I didn't know all this stuff about you because we just know each other in passing, and then sometimes to come to the studio. Yeah. This is the reason why I love hosting this podcast, because I am just exponentially exploding my aerial community through these conversations, because it's not just about what we do in the air. It's about every single facet of it, and every single facet of our lives is what contributes to what we look like up there, even if you never speak to us. I try to teach. I try to help guide my adult students in finding their own style.
Yeah.
And all of the stuff comes together to create that.
Yes.
Right? I think so. And that's why I'm just so grateful that aerial versus dance, like, you just have a little bit more of a lifespan, because the texture that we can create, like all of the nuance that we have the ability to create because we have so much life experience, more than a younger youth.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Use it.
A younger youth. Yeah. Yeah. That we have the opportunity to stretch that out and to use that. Let me ask you a very nuts and bolts question.
Yes.
How do you manage to train with a infant and two of the kids?
Yeah.
Like what does that look like in a week? And do you have your own rig? Like how do you manage to do it?
Yeah. So I have my own rig, which is really nice. That's where I teach and I train a lot. And so I'm able to bring the kids with me if for my baby, while my older kids are in school, my baby will come with me. I might teach a client in the morning. I'm fortunate enough that my parents are around, and I acknowledge that not everybody has that great privilege, but they've been a great help where I can bring the baby to them, and then I'll teach for an hour, and then after that I'll train. And then if I'm not able to have anybody to watch her, then she's able to stay with me anyway. And I do that. And then I pick up the kids from school and come home, or sometimes I'll sign up for classes like at the Loft. The Loft is my base studio right these days. So I'll sign up for a class like at night, and my husband is done with work at that time so he can watch. Sometimes but I do like training in the morning. I'd rather do things in the morning. I'm sure you you agree.
I'm not a morning person. I like doing my aerial at night.
Really?
But honestly, now I just take it whenever I can, and I do. Mostly, I train with my students because I don't actually ever go to the studio anymore, just by myself.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which obviously I used to all the time.
Sure.
But I don't ever do that. Thankfully, my silks practice is so deep that I don't necessarily I don't have to class prep on my own body because I've done all the things.
Right.
So unless I'm introducing something that I've never really taught before, but most of my students, they're not there yet. Like, I have years of curriculum to give them.
Nice.
That's in my head already. And I think that's a big plus because my training time has changed dramatically.
Yeah, I went to like a night class the other night, and I just was like, I was asleep in the garage. Just could not. So props to you. I'd rather do things in the morning, like train in the morning. Like anytime I can do that is, but I get it. Like whenever you can. Just we fit it in, right?
No, I mean, you get very efficient. I remember, and you don't have this experience because it wasn't before you had kids, but man, I was also never had a real job. So like, between auditions, I would go to the aerial studio, get, sign out some space, and hours of it, I would just be like stuck in my head and like laying on the floor staring up at my point. Like, what am I going to make up?
That is so nice.
Like, I can't imagine doing that now.
Yeah, yep, exactly. I can lie there with the baby on my boob and think about life. It's just, yes.
Well, is your little one crawling or walking yet?
She's not crawling. I mean, she's crawling a little bit. She like inch crawls and she sits around. So that's been nice. But no, she's not walking yet. So it's going to change things.
Yeah. So like do you have like a pack and play or something out there with you outside?
So usually my parents are inside the house, just helping to watch her.
I have to tell you, I'm so jealous of that.
I'm sorry. I know. I'm so.
Trust me, I know there are ups and downs. Like I know that like my parents would get on my nerves at some points, but but still, like I think that she's spent all of like 4 weeks with my parents total in her 3.5 years because they live on the other side of the country.
Wow.
And me and Asa are basically, one of us is free when the other one is not. That's how we've had to choreograph our lives.
Right.
But I remember going to Dangle House, which is my friend Tanya's space, outdoor space during the pandemic. And Bean was, 7, 8, 9 months, 11, 12, 13 months, whatever it is. And over time, she was walking, crawling and walking. And I have the pack and play outside with me. And my friends too, but it was pandemic, so we weren't picking it up each other's kids, etc.
Right. Yeah.
And she would stand in her pack and play, like right off the side of my point, like the mat's there and then right on the side.
Yes.
Screaming at me to come down. Like I have videos
I love
that, and videos of me on the fabric, and you can just hear the background is just like blood curdling screams.
Yep.
Like after a while, I'm like, I give up. Let's go home.
I feel you so much. When my kids, I found Ariel when my son was like, right. I think he was either in preschool or right before, but he wasn't in school all the time. So I would just take him, and I remember taking him and my daughter, like especially in the summer months when I didn't have my parents. My dad just recently retired, so let me just put that out there. That's why he's been able to be there to help with this baby. But with the first two, there were a lot of where I would take them to the loft. There's some videos where they're like in the back on the couch, just jumping around, and I'm like in the air. Or I would take them to up, and we would do like they would just be there running around while I'm trying to do something. But props to you for the little one screaming. I feel you.
Well, and we're not even past that, because can you hear what's happening in the background of this video?
She's fantastic.
She's playing with her little toy that's like a a piano that you just like step on, and it has the little jingles of all the things.
Yes.
But this is expecting Ariel's. I'm like, you know what?
We all get it.
Everyone gets it.
Yep.
We all know that I'm not at some Spotify, soundstage. Okay. It's like, I'm not there yet. So it's fine.
It's fine. It is.
But
totally,
I do listen to like what I would consider like professional podcasts, and their like sound is so exquisite. I'm like, well, it's okay.
But it shows, you're paving the way in the podcast industry here. You support of the mothers and support of like the realistic
Support of families.
Yes. Please.
Because at certain points I was like, your papa's home, just go sit with him. And it will happen like, I don't know, 5% of the time. But as you may know, even when her dad is here,
oh yeah,
she wants her mama.
Yes.
A lot of the time, even after the boob went away, closed for business, shut down, still, she wants to be with me.
Yep.
A lot,
Yep.
even though all day, where's Papa? Papa home? And then he comes home and she ignores him.
Right. Always.
I'm just like, what is that?
Gotta go to mama. Because you have things to do when you're talking, but it's good. She has to be there. I completely feel you. But there, even though it is a very like the hardest job I've ever had is being a mother. It just is. But I do see them not as, and I've shared this many times, but like that. I don't feel that they are a limitation, having a family, being a mother. I don't feel they're a limitation. And I feel like they've been my motivation, my inspiration to these things. It is really what keeps me going and trying to balance all this stuff and juggle all these things. But it's like, it comes from them. They motivate me. They when I look at their faces and I just see, when I felt discouraged, they lift me up, and I'm just so grateful for that. So I do feel like there is this, because it is very hard. But as far as talking about supporting families, like especially in our industry and stuff, right? That we can.
Yeah, we can do everything. And then there's an asterisk there. I kind of define it differently.
Mm-hmm.
I use the word limiting all the time. Like, my dance career was also limiting, even though there wasn't a person involved. It was just me. It limited my ability to take vacations, for example. Yes. I would always say, the only guarantee that I'll book something is that if I book a vacation, and then I'll get booked on something and have to cancel the vacation.
Yeah.
So I felt limited in the way I always say that for 20 years I was on call. I very rarely booked out of my agency. Meaning, even if I left LA, if they called me, I would change all my plans and come right back. I was that committed to my dance career when I was in my 20s and 30s.
Okay.
It's like I was a doctor on call. Nothing holds me back. I'm gonna break the speed limit to get back.
Wow, yeah.
Because my agent is, runs my life. And there was enough work back then as a dancer to do that. Now it's different because everyone has a Starbucks job. Everyone works at a restaurant and they have to work around things. But back then it could be your only job and you were just a slave to your agent. And I felt like as much as that career was just expansive and I didn't feel any limits when it came to I have a baby to worry about or I have a husband to worry about. I worried about other things, and other things got limited. And then now I'm limited in a different way. I can't just take my fanny pack, which is my purse now. I used to have a purse, now I have a fanny pack, and I just throw it over my shoulder, cross strap, because who has time for arms and hands? I can't just throw on my fanny pack and get in an Uber and go have drinks with my friends. I have to plan it.
Exactly.
I can still do it, but I have to plan it. If I want to go see a movie by myself, which is very, which I talk about all the time, is my favorite, pastime, recreational, thing to do for 2 hours. I can't just go. I have to I have to like plan it out with my dude, and I have to like make sure that they're, maybe if they're taking a nap at the same time, it's perfect. Go now. Set a timer, like.
Do you feel more empowered though? Empowered, like empowered as that, like when we're able to kind of sift through the chaos of it and we made it happen, or even if we don't make it happen, but because many times.
Yeah, because it kind of feels like winning.
Yeah, it feels like you're winning. Like all the time when each day that we're able to finish, and like they're still, here and
alive.
Like
no, when I'm sitting at the theater, stuffing popcorn in my face and sipping my Diet Coke, and like Super Mario Brothers are just starting, like I feel like I'm winning for sure. 100%. I'm like, I made this happen. I'm winning. I did it.
I don't like the bag.
I know. She didn't want to see. I wanted to see Super Mario Brothers with her, but she didn't like King Koopa, who was very scary and it looks like a dragon.
Oh.
And you didn't want to see it, right? Here, you can tell the listeners why you didn't want to see it. Come here. Come here. You didn't want to see it? Scared of King Koopa? It's okay. Mama came back. She always gets worried that I'm going to go to the movie by myself, but then not buy her the snacks that I would have bought her had she been there. So I come back and she's, where's my Sour Patch Kids?
Oh, yeah, you have to bring it home. I bring it home.
Well, what I do is I go to 7-Eleven afterwards and buy it instead because the movie theater is so upcharged. That's what I do.
Smart. Always winning. There you go. Always winning.
Always winning. But I don't really define it as, like pre-child as non-limited and then post-child as limiting. Like I do recognize that the way I lived my life beforehand also had its limitations. They were just different.
Right.
And, I enjoy not having both of my dreams collide because she's my dream, but she's like my second dream. And I always think of my dance career as like this like dream that had no bank account because there's nothing left from it. like you have nothing to show for it except memories and photos.
That's what you take with you, yeah?
I mean, there's been many, many times post-dance career, I'm just like, why did I even do that? God, it's such a bad financial decision.
I mean, but now you can... it all builds to this moment right here.
You know where I feel like I'm winning, actually? I feel like I'm really winning with the podcast situation because out of everything, when everything's said and done and all the hustling is over... I feel like, not me, but everybody I bring on, okay, come here, would have like touched the world in some way because it's all about sharing our stories. And then it's not like my dance career. It will be here when I'm gone.
I have to tell you, just your podcast, there was one episode.
Hold on. Let Pamela speak with us on mute, okay?
There was one episode that you interviewed, I'm failing to remember her name, but it was a wonderful episode. She was trying to conceive. And I was in the middle of that as well, just feeling the ups and downs and frustrations. And I think I had just declined that one traveling circus contract that I was so harping over. But and it was just the most uplifting episode. When you spoke to her, it made me cry. It gave me encouragement and hope that we're just doing our best here. And, as that there's other women around who are going through the same things that I am. And so, yes, you are completely winning with this podcast because you're making a difference. And I'm so grateful that you're sharing, all these stories of all these amazing women and just what we're going through. We all have different journeys, different paths, and we can learn from each other, and it's just really uplifting. And I'm so grateful. Like, it's an honor to be on here, but also just like I want to tell you, like you're totally doing something amazing because it's.
Oh, thank you. I mean, it does. It makes me feel like every time I get discouraged with it, or if it gets a little hard to schedule guests, because I just have to be so ahead of things and be so on top of things. With doesn't that feel like life is like that? Like,
Mommy.
Like you have to be on top of everything at the same time. What? I don't know if Pamela needs to see your undies. She's got Baby Shark on her undies today.
Baby
FYI.
Shark. Is that still huge? I don't even know. But
It is.
amazing. It is because it's on me.
It is. And by the way, a really good fun fact about Baby Shark. Stop.
Mom, get me down.
All right, slide down. Is that it's 120 beats per minute, and if you have to do CPR on somebody, you can sing Baby Shark and it's the right tempo.
Hey, good to know. If I ever go back to nursing, which I will not, I will remember that.
I mean, it's like, because it's the other song is Staying Alive, but like, I know Baby Shark way better. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and to my listeners out there, I reach out to a lot of you guys, and I hope to find more of you, so please let yourself be known. Email me, please, carrie@wrapyourheadaroundsilks.com, because a lot of women I talk to are like, well, what are we going to talk about? Or do we get to like, what are the questions you're going to ask me? Or I'm a little bit nervous to talk about this. Please don't. Like, please don't have any of those feelings, because I don't have a plan, but I know that I'm very good at guiding you to talk to me. Oh, we have Baby Alive here. Bean, this is a crybaby. Listen, I'm almost done. Can you give me 2 minutes?
Put this on.
Okay, put her hood on. Okay. It's so easy, guys. And so if that is what is holding you back from being on this podcast, please let that not be the reason, because it's an easy hour.
Yes.
It's an easy hour. We just have to go. Scheduling is the hardest part.
Yeah, but sharing your story, you're gonna touch somebody's life somewhere, and somebody's gonna relate. And it's please reach out, because it's
Yeah.
it's been so helpful.
Yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
It's important. Okay, I'm gonna stop taking so much of your time. We did an hour exactly, I think. You did so good, Pamela, and I'm so glad to have like gotten deeper into your story, because I didn't know all these things.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. You're so much fun. We have to reunite at some point in person, but
Oh my goodness, Pamela, I have to make time to come over to your rig at your house and play with your squish and train. We gotta make a play date happen. It's so great to have you on. You know, I am just loving this podcast because it's kind of morphing into like conversations rather than interviews, you know, because it's you know, interviews, they can just be so, what's the word? Square, sterile. I don't know. But I'm so happy and excited about, you know, the direction the podcast is going in. And so thankful for my podcast group / structure, Digital Podcast. They've grown too. They've picked up a couple more podcasts. So we are a great group of health and wellness podcasts. Also have Greener Grass, which we just started the 4th season. I can't believe I'm saying that. We talk about everything, try to be as diverse as possible with our guests and their stories. We talk about ordinary people living extraordinary lives. All right, my friends, thanks for being here. Please honor me with a 5-star rating and a review. I'm a slave to their algorithm. Please, please, please help me out so people can find me organically. All right, guys, over and out. This is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is the Expecting Aerialist.